Welcome, Pod Up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Shane Matthews here on a I think it's Thursday. I lose track of time nowadays. But April 2nd. We got a great show lined up today. We're going to be joined right out of the box here with Brent Beaird from over at Jack's, co-host of College Sports Today. Also, First Coast News over at Jack's, Heisman Trophy voter. Also, in the second hour, part of the second half of the program, we're joined by Billy Horschel from the Beaird golfer on the PGA Tour. But we're going to go straight to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by our good friend Brent Beaird. Brent, good morning. How are you?
Shane, good morning. Like everyone else, we hope and pray you guys are doing well, and we're just trying to wrap our head around the events of the day that changes by the minute, by the hour, and by the day. So we are, we understand that there's plenty going on when there's nothing going on.
No doubt about it. Well, Brent, we talked a little bit the last couple of days about the vote that the NCAA made. I think they got it right. Fill us in on what you heard and all the details.
Well, the best thing that they were able to do here was to extend for the spring players what they called eligibility relief, that they were able to be given an extra season of eligibility that makes up for the one that they lost. Now, people will still question why were the winter athletes not given the same. In the eyes of the committee, they felt that the winter athletes, for instance basketball, were able to have a full season. No, they didn't get into the postseason tournaments or the NCAA tournament, but they were able to get a season in. The spring sports were not. And because of that, they're offering opportunity for some of these players who did not be able to play, say, baseball, as they were just basically getting into starting to begin the SEC round of their schedule. That was obviously cut short. So they will be given an opportunity to play again next year. Now, again, what this means is, well, the scholarship money is going to be basically left up to the school, but the roster limits, and this is the thing that we were concerned about more than anything else, the restriction on that has been lessened, allowing guys or women to be able to play. So, again, Shane, I'm with you. It was, to me, it was a no-brainer for the NCAA to allow at least these men and women another chance to play next year.
Yeah, so you're saying, let's just say player X, who was a senior for Kevin O'Sullivan and for the Gator baseball team, was getting X amount of money for a scholarship. The person that's going to make that decision, whether he gets that same scholarship money, will be the head coach, correct?
Well, a lot of that still, I think, yet to be determined. Obviously, Sully will have a lot to say about that, I would hope. But again, that they basically left this up, Shane, to the individual schools to make that decision. And unfortunately, that's the last thing on these schools' minds right now. But I'm glad they've at least had a fair shot to play, and hopefully they will be able to get as much scholarship money as possible.
Yeah, as you mentioned, there's bigger things out there, but that could put a tough decision on the head coach.
Sure.
You know, this guy's been in my program for 4 years, but we got these freshmen coming in. I need to use money on them, so it's going to be a difficult decision, no doubt about.
I agree. I'm sure they're already thinking about that, but at least it gives these players another opportunity.
Yeah. So, Brent, when you look at financially with college athletics, you know, a lot of money that's distributed to the universities comes from March Madness or what have you. That check that's going to be coming from the NCAA is going to be not what it's used to being. It's definitely going to hurt a lot of the smaller schools throughout the country. Do you see, if we can't get college football going this year, a lot of schools probably shutting down some sports?
It will be a double whammy. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if they would shut down all of them, Shane, but they very well may end up losing some sports in making the decision and cutting some sports. Now, for instance, a lot of your SEC schools, your blue blood schools, they've got some of the reserves in order to deal with this, but to not have or really the money coming in that you would normally get from basketball, and then, or at least that money being cut, and then you've got football. If they're not able to play, that puts a lot of schools in a very difficult position, frankly, and they're going to have to come up with some creative ways to deal with it. So some schools cutting sports, some schools maybe even drop it down to another, like going from Division I to something lower. Now, what's interesting is one thing we saw late last night is the fact of, and I give them a lot of credit for this, Matt Campbell at Iowa State made the decision for some pay cuts at least for about a year or so, meaning the 1-year suspension of all coaching bonuses at this point. So that will be interesting to see where that goes. But Matt Campbell gets it, and he's trying to help his staff and trying to help a lot of other people. And Shane, as you know, for coaching staffs, it's not just your on the field staff. There are a lot of people involved, a lot of families involved. So I think we'll begin to see some sacrifices like this. Maybe not across the board, but certainly with some schools.
Yeah, absolutely. We're speaking with Brent Beaird on the Titan MRI hotline from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Brent, the people that you've talked with, I mean, obviously everyone has their own opinions about college football. Will it be played this year? Will it be moved up? Will it be moved back? I mean, we all saw what Kirk Herbstreit, his comments. He didn't think we'd play college football this year. What are you hearing out there?
Well, there's a lot of scenarios out there right now as far as what to do. There was a article by some of the business journals over the weekend that brought up the possibility of playing starting even in July, just to get a season in. I know some other guys have come out, Bruce Feldman, for instance, and said he talked to a lot of kind of the movers and the shakers in the industry, and said that very likely would not happen at this point. I think a lot of guys or saying, like Steve Adazio at Colorado State, that if they could be started by the normal time of fall camp, that he thinks that they could be able to play. Shane, I think we're going to have some kind of a season. It very well may be modified. We may not start on time. Look, we've seen and heard everything from starting October to, believe it or not, starting in January to playing just conference games, not playing any kind of non-conference games. So maybe starting without fans at this point. There was Pete Thamel did a very interesting article last night talking with some of the decision makers, and one of the main things that they said, if we can have college students back on campus by the beginning, say of when the fall term normally starts, that would be a tremendous help in order to do it. But I think the safe thing is that these schools right now, Shane, are having, I think they've got a big board somewhere that's got a list of, I don't know, maybe double-digit scenarios on when to start the season and what they can do.
Yeah, Brent, also, I know I have a college football player living in my house right now with me,
Sure.
So I know where the SEC finally passed a rule where they can do meetings via the internet on Zoom and things of that nature. Weren't there other conferences that were already doing that?
I think there were. There weren't that to be able to do so. But the SEC began that on Monday. And basically what that means is they've got 2 hours during the week, and they don't do it all at once. That they divide it up, I understand, with like position groups and things of that nature. I think that's a real positive to be able to have the coaches to hear from the players. And again, the thing we've got to remember is, and I know you've talked about this, the players right now are so limited that they're not access to not only the college situation with the weight room and with the nutrition they get. They really don't have anything with their high schools either. They can't get into the gym at their high school or where they're working out. Individual gyms are closed. So for the first time ever, we have seen a preseason where players are not getting what they normally get in order to be ready for the season.
Yeah, it's a crazy time, no question. You have to do a lot of working out at home.
That's right.
A lot of kids don't have dumbbells, bench presses, and stuff at their houses. I know that for a fact. Brent, when you look at what's going on from a recruiting standpoint, now obviously we know there's not any face-to-face recruiting. I know there's a dead period. I think they extended that to like May 31st. Does that mean that the coaches can or cannot contact potential recruits?
Well, the latest thing that's come through from the NCAA is they have extended face-to-face recruiting through May 31st. They've also suspended recruiting visits, face-to-face meetings. Obviously, through this month, they initially thought they would be able to go back and started April the 15th. That probably was a little bit too optimistic at that point. We're still trying to figure that out too. So those are kind of your dates that you're looking at as far as trying to figure this out. And again, I think they're trying to adhere to as close as they can the recruiting calendar, where it's a quiet period, it's a dead period, and then they can do some creative things, I'm sure, through phone calls, and also through video conferences and things like that. So recruiting is another thing that's being modified right now also, yes.
So when we're moving towards the Florida Gators, they had a decommitment the last few days. Have anyone else committed to them? And what's the status on our running back that everybody in America wants?
Nothing new, Mr. Evans. As we talked before, the latest that we've got is the decommitment from Kamara Wilkinson. He's a 4-star 2021 defensive back, rated 16th best athlete, 38th best player in the state of Florida. He had first committed back in November, and then decommitting again. So, I mean, he's kind of been back and forth, and he recommitted. So it's been a roller coaster, to say the least. Now, I don't think Florida is out of it necessarily at this point. Bama, Ohio State, Auburn, Michigan, and Georgia. Ohio State is considered to be the favorite. But, I mean, Shane, when you look at that track record of commitment, decommitment, recommitment, decommitment, it's hard to make anything out of that right now, is it?
Yeah, it's crazy. Brent, when you look at, some people want to talk about, with this, what's happening in the world, will we play college football, will we not? But if we do, losing spring and a lot of these practices, without your coaches, but you're here with your teammates working out. The more I think about it, the Georgias, the Mississippi States, the Florida States, these teams that have new staffs, new coaches, new players at positions, you can sit here in a meeting. I can sit here and I can be telling you what to do from a play standpoint, your reads and stuff like that on the computer. But if you're not out there actually verbalizing it and going through it, you can't get used to executing. So I just think, if they say, late July, we're going to play football and you only have 3 or 4 weeks to get ready. I don't know how the teams like Georgia, as I mentioned, Mississippi State and the Florida States with new staffs and new players, how they're going to be playing at a high level like the other teams that are going to have this, a lot of returning players.
Well, there may be a lot of rusty teams in September if we're even able to play at that point. I mean, what you said about teams like Georgia, I agree with. Todd Monken comes in as the offensive coordinator, and the quarterback coach, Kirby Smart, mentioned that was going to happen this week. See, Georgia's also retooling their offensive line. You've got guys who are recovering from injuries at receiver, like Dominic Blaylock, who tore his ACL in the SEC championship game. Jamie Newman comes in. He's an experienced quarterback from Wake Forest, but he's had very limited, if any, time with his receivers to get the timing down. And Shane, you know how important that is. So I agree. I think that's a point well taken. Now, Florida State did have a very limited amount of time for spring practice, but they did get a little bit of work in. But yet you're installing new everything, new schemes, new coaches, so forth and so on. So I would agree with you. Teams that have had coaches in place, they know who the quarterback is, and so forth. That is a real advantage to them. Now, we mentioned Georgia a minute ago. One of the great things for them is they've got like 13 players on defense, including reserves, of course, who've had over like 150 snaps. So that's a big advantage for them. And Shane, I would say early on, the teams have got experienced coaches and quarterbacks and experienced defenses. They'll have a bit of an advantage.
Absolutely. We got a text here on the Titan MRI text line for you, Brent. Todd wants to know, have they canceled SEC Media Days yet?
No, that they haven't. The SEC Media Days is the second week of July. And look, that is a real benchmark for a lot of people to wait and see where that's going to go. It's going to be in Atlanta this year, Nashville next year. It was in Birmingham last year, remember? So, no, at this point, it has not. And Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, said that it's full bore to be able to go there. So that will be crucial at this point if we're able to make that date. So it's still on as of now.
Brent, got any nuggets for us?
Well, I think we mentioned George a few minutes ago, and I mentioned Dominic Blaylock. Now he is obviously doing well with his recovery from the knee injury. He's running some, using a treadmill, even catching the ball a little bit. So I think that's something to consider. At Kentucky, Mark Stoops said he is prepared and forfeiting some of his salary for the coming season to help out. So I think that's something that we're beginning to see a little bit during that time, too. Mike Leach is doing, I think, pretty well at Mississippi State. They actually had a Vanderbilt transfer quarterback, Alan Walters, that left Vanderbilt, coming to Mississippi State. I think they're doing well. Also in recruiting, their opener against New Mexico is going to be moved from Saturday to Thursday. So we can dream about that right now as far as the season being going. But listen, you've got but in the stadium in Tuscaloosa is being refurbished. That is still going on right now. In South Carolina, they've got construction upgrades that began after the last season, and that's been unaffected so far. So they're able to get that going too. So there are some things that are happening right now that even though obviously if you got a stadium, you want to play, you've got to get those things done. So that still continues.
No doubt about it. Well, Brent, be safe over there in Jackson, my man. We'll talk to you next week. We appreciate you joining the show.
Always, Shane. Take care.
That's Brent Beaird. You can follow him on Twitter at Brent Beaird. We want to make sure everybody knows that Jackie Spread, who is currently on leave because there's no games out there, is brought to you by Peachland Dentistry, Gators Nation's #1 choice of dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Hey, Taylor, I want to go to the play of the day, which actually, again, it's not a play of the day. It's what happened this day in sports. and it's brought to you by your area rug masters. Is your whole family stuck at home and tracking in dirt and mud more than usual? Take your rugs to area rug masters for a BOGO rug cleaning. When you mention the code Shane, call 352-448-5999. In this day in sports in 2007, I was there. Florida beats the Ohio State Buckeyes 84-75 for back-to-back titles in college basketball. Corey Brewer was named most outstanding player. But yeah, that was in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. So that is brought to you by Area Rug Masters. We're going to take our first time out of the program. When we come back, we'll be joined by PGA Tour player, former Gator Billy Horschel. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Time out! 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 Hey! Time out! Time out! Time out! There we go. Good.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Let's give them something to cheer for now.
Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security, small enough to serve you, large enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Gators Dockside, wings, ribs, seafood, and beer. Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Area Rug Masters, your #1 choice for rug cleaning, and Pound Hurt, preferred personal injury attorneys.
Our touchdown sponsors are Radware Promotional Materials, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Gator BTW, Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, Miapa Latin Cafe, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Okita America Martial Arts and After School, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, The Keys Grill and Piano Bar, UF Mover Guys, The Digital Mortgage Guy, Adams Ribs, Cloud9 Spa, Wrap Spot, Coldstone Creamery, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Center State Bank, and Style Cuts.
If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click on the advertise button or call Freddie Wiebe at 352-284-3733.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Looking, still looking. He's going for the end zone. He's got a touchdown.
Welcome back to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We're going to go straight to the Titan MRI hotline now. We're joined by former Gator, 4-time All-American, 2-time SEC Player of the Year, 5 tour wins, Gator great Billy Horschel. Billy, welcome to the program. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, Shane. How are you, buddy?
Doing great. Hey, how is it being home? I think you got 3 kids now, correct?
Yes, I do. I got 3 kids, 5, 3, and 1. So it's
so
been great. I'm in the thick of it.
Yeah, but you don't have to deal with all the homeschooling at this point, right?
My 5-year-old does some pre-K, and my wife takes care of that. I suspended myself from the rest of the semester before we even got started. So
I don't blame you one bit. Well, Billy, like I said, we appreciate you joining the show. Let's talk a little bit about your Gator career first. Did you want to play? Did you grow up wanting to be a golfer here at the University of Florida?
I grew up being a Gator fan. I was a Gator fan for as long as I can remember, and always wanted to go to the University of Florida. And when I decided to focus on golf instead of baseball in high school, I wanted to go to Florida and play for University of Florida. I knew what Buddy did as a player himself, and I knew how he was as a coach, the players he turned out, and I was like, man, if I could get to the University of Florida, it would be a dream come true.
Yeah, I know. I've heard.
I wasn't as special. I wasn't anything that coaches were drooling over to have. All the schools in Florida recruited me in some form or fashion. I never got offered a scholarship from anybody. Just because a couple of my other buddies that I played with in the state of Florida, they went to UCF, they went to FSU. Trey Jones at FSU said, "Hey, if you go to Beaird Community College, where I lived in Beaird, he's like, if you go there for a year or two, I'll for sure give you a scholarship and you can come and play for me." I had a coach in Steve LaMontagne who played at the University of Florida in the, I believe it was early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. He reached out to Buddy when I was like a sophomore, just let Buddy know who I was. And so I guess Buddy had followed me a little bit, and he saw me play a little bit at the U.S. Junior Amateur when I was 16 or 17. But he followed me during a practice on state finals, the Florida State Golf Finals. We talked on the phone a little bit, and he's like, it was between me and another kid from Jacksonville. And he's like, listen, I've got a book scholarship. I wasn't sure if I was going to offer it to anybody. But I think there's something about you that I like, and here's a book scholarship. If you want to take it, you go ahead, take it. And I was like, hell yeah, let's take this. But for my parents' case, it was it had to deal with some stuff because we weren't well off financially, so it was going to be tough for me to go to the University of Florida and pay for it. Thankfully, I had really good grades, so the Bright Future is going to help cover it. But it's still a big financial commitment my parents had to make. But I wanted to go. I was like, I'm going. I don't care what my parents said. I'm going to be a Gator and play for Buddy Alexander.
That's great. Billy, we're speaking with Billy Horschel from the PGA. Like being on campus and being around all those guys.
It was just a winning culture. When other programs are having success and you're around it, you as an athlete, it motivates you to have that same level of success, get that same level of recognition. And so it was really cool to be on campus at that time. Tim Tebow's a really good friend of mine. Seeing the basketball players be in the same workout facility as the basketball players and see how hard they were working. Al Hartford, Torian Green, Corey Brewer, Joe Canoa, see how hard they worked. I mean, it was just a culture in the athletic department, which there is always that winning culture. But when you're winning national championships, it just takes it up another level or two.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So, Billy, let's move forward. Obviously, you won 5 times on the PGA Tour. I don't think people realize how difficult that is. It's funny because guys that play professional football, we all want to be professional golfers, and I feel like professional golfers want to be football players. But do you enjoy playing in golf tournaments where y'all shoot 22 under par and win? Because me as a fan of golf, I like to see you boys struggle. You know what I'm saying? In the majors.
Yeah.
So when y'all shoot 22 under, it's just hard for me to enjoy watching that on TV. But do y'all enjoy doing that?
It is fun from time to time, but me personally, I love the struggle. I love when I've always said when the winning score is somewhere between 8 to 12 on the par. I think that's a great winning score for any tournament because what that shows is that the person who won that week or the guys that are up there winning that week, they played the best golf out of everybody because when you hit bad golf shots, you got penalized, and when you hit good golf shots, you got rewarded. Too many times when you see that at 20, 22 under, whatever that, 20 something on the winning score is, you just don't get penalized for your bad shots enough. And so that's why I'm more of a fan of the struggle where you have to hit really good golf shots, and if you do, you get rewarded for it. So I'm in the same boat as you in that case.
Yes, no doubt about it. We got a text here on the Titan MR text line from William. He says, what's your favorite course in the world to play?
My favorite course in the world. I didn't have one until a few years ago. I was still looking for it. The one course I could play the rest of my life, and that course is Pine Valley. It's just an unbelievable golf course up in New Jersey. It's just there's no houses on it. I mean, it's a massive piece of property, and they've built cabins and everything. But when you go on site, it just feels like it's you, and there's nothing else around. It's just a beautiful golf course. The way I would design a golf course where you got the manicured tees, fairways, and greens, and then everything else around it is just natural and not manicured, and that sense of style and design.
Another text here on the Titan MR hotline from Larry. He wants to know, Billy, what's your favorite major that you play in?
My favorite major. They're all really special. I mean, they all have something to it. I would say and it's changed. I've always said I wanted to win the U.S. Open. I think I still do want to win the U.S. Open and what it means to win the U.S. Open. But I would say the two majors that really are equal is Augusta, because it's Augusta and the Masters, and I've come around to it more as of late than earlier in my career. Just because when you win, you can always come back, and that's the cool factor. That's the neat thing to me, is you're always able to come back, put in the green jacket, goes to a champion's dinner. And the other one being the Open Championship, the fans, and just something about the historic nature of the event, the way the fans treat you, the way they are the most knowledgeable golf fans in the entire world. There's just something about that entire environment that just makes that event so special.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the British Open, I used to hate watching that on TV until I went over there back in about 06 or 07 for like a week and played in Scotland. And I have a new appreciation for playing over there, because TV does not do it justice at all.
No, it doesn't. I mean, TV doesn't make it look pretty on TV, but you get over there, the courses are awesome. It's completely different than what we're normally used to seeing here in the States. And the fans are just so cool. And the other thing about that is, after rounds, which is something we don't normally do at majority of events, but majority of times families don't go over there. So I'm over there with my caddy and my coach and some other people, and so we'll get together with some other players, and we're at the dinner, and then after that we'll go to a pub and hang out for a little while and have a few drinks, and then go back to the house that we're renting, and then just go to sleep. So it's just a nice, cool little, like, I guess, boys' week, guys' week, that entire Open Championship, that just makes it special, a little more special to me.
We're speaking with Billy Horschel, Gator Great, on the PGA Tour on the Titan MR hotline. We got a Facebook Live comment here brought to you by Pound Hurt, your preferred business interruption attorneys. It says, Billy, how does Shinnecock Hills compare in difficulty to the other courses in play for majors? Seems like that course is more difficult than most. This comes from Jack on Facebook Live.
I haven't had the pleasure of playing Shinnecock when they had the Open Championship there. A couple years ago, I was not qualified. The only U.S. Open I have been qualified for in the last almost 10 years. But from what I've seen, unfortunately, with how the USGA has set it up in the last couple Open Championships there, that they've let it get out of hand. And it's a little sad, because when you do that, you're not only embarrassing the players, you're embarrassing the golf course, and you're making the golf course look bad. So after this last U.S. Open, I've talked to a couple of Shinnecock members that I know, and they really don't want to hold another U.S. Open there, for the sole fact that it's embarrassed. It's made the golf course look bad on TV and not look the way they want it to come across to the regular golfer.
Gotcha. We got another text on the Titan MR hotline. Must be somebody from your area, Billy. It's Fred. He says, ask Billy if he attended the annual seafood festival in Grant when growing up.
Yeah, the Grant Seafood Festival. I was born and raised in Grant, so I mean it was a 5-10 minute bike ride from where from my house, and so I mean we went all the time. I mean it was a great community thing. Something that's been around for a long time. A lot of really good seafood. They had some local bands come in and play, and just I mean we went as much as I could when I was home, which seemed to be all the time for the Grant Seafood Festival.
I got a question here for you. You're one of the stylish type players on tour with the way you dress. Question for you: like Ricky Fowler wears his Oklahoma State orange on Sundays. When are we going to see the Billy Horschel orange and blue on Sundays?
It's just sometimes it's just a feel. I don't want to I don't want to wear it too much where it just becomes a thing. I want it to be for special moments, and so
Gotcha.
When we do play in Florida, I try to wear more orange and blue in the state of Florida, and then especially during college football season, I'll wear a lot of orange and blue on Saturdays for when the Gators are playing. I just go through little phases of when I wanted to bring it out, and there's little touches that I do that it's sometimes tough to see on TV. The colors don't really come across. So I haven't had that outfit on Sunday where I'm like, I need to wear this on Sunday, like Tiger wears his red, or like Ricky wears his Oklahoma State orange, or Luke Donald wears his Northwestern purple. So I haven't got that little Sunday thing that's always made me play well. I'm a little superstitious. So if I wear something or a certain color or a certain shirt, I'll wear that a little bit more often. But once I play bad in it, then I got to switch it up.
Gotcha. Well, we know you're a huge college football fan. So how much smack talk is there among the players on tour about college football?
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, we all can't wait to get to college football season. And unfortunately, right now, we are not playing golf. And if we were playing, everyone would be talking about what everybody's team's doing in spring ball and how they're looking. And we'd be talking about recruiting. So, I mean, it's talked about a lot, but it gets amped up in the fall. A lot of smack talk gets talked, especially from the Georgia Bulldogs guys. They talk smack whether they're winning or losing. And it's just amazing to see how they go about it. But it's fun, especially in the SEC. It's just all the SEC guys, players. We love it. We know what the other teams are doing. We know what the other recruiting teams, who they're recruiting. It's a lot of fun. I mean, and like I said, the Georgia Bulldogs guys by far talk the most smack, and when they win, they act like they won a national championship. They will rub it in for months and weeks and months on a time.
Billy, I would guess your most memorable moment on tour is winning the 2014 Tour Championship and the FedEx Cup. Am I correct about that? If not, what's the most memorable moment you've had on tour? And talk a little bit about what it meant to win the FedEx Cup.
Yeah, that's by far the highlight of my PGA Tour is winning the FedEx Cup. It was an unbelievable run. I played okay through the season. I just hadn't really put it all together. I knew there was some good stuff coming. I just didn't know when. And then I saw it in Boston. I got that little extra confidence that I had been looking for all year. Just reassurance that I was doing the right things and the results were coming on the golf course. And that just led me to an unbelievable 3-week run where I won twice and I won the FedEx Cup. And it was a life-changing moment financially for me. A lot of guys that have won it, for the most part, have already been financially set or made a lot of money. For me, it was a big financial thing for me because I was my fourth year, I think, on tour, fourth to fifth year on tour. I didn't come from money like I've mentioned before. So it was knowing that I was going to be financially set, not only for myself, but I could take care of my family, was a big moment for me.
What kind of clubs you got in the bag right now?
Right now, I left my equipment sponsor almost 2 months ago now, PXG. We just decided to part ways mutually, and so I've got some TaylorMade. I got a TaylorMade driver in my bag. I still got a couple PXG fairway words. I'm testing some different irons out. I've been still playing my PXG irons, but right now I'm liking a set of Tireless and a set of Ping irons that I've been testing the most. And I've been playing some Tireless wedges. So I'm just I'm in a new environment, new realm right now with being what we would call a free agent in the equipment industry. I can play whatever I want and I can play what fits my game the best. And so it's a little daunting because there's so many clubs to try and there's so many people want you to play their equipment. So I've just been taking it slow and working my way through it. And the silver lining in us not playing right now is I get to spend some time testing all these clubs and not having to try, right away to test it and worry about it. So it's still a process. And I think when we get back to playing, I'll have, a complete different set of clubs with different manufacturers and everything else. There just won't be one manufacturer in my bag.
We're speaking with Billy Horschel here on the Titan MR Hotline. You can follow him on Twitter at BillyHo_golf. We got a text here on the Titan MR text line from Blaine. He says, for the average golfer, is it more important driving the golf ball or putting?
That's if you, when you hit your driver, if you keep it in play, you're not hitting into hazard or it's not creating penalty shots for you, then putting's the biggest thing. And that's what I see a lot in my pro-ams that I play. Majority of the guys can hit the ball keep the ball in play, get the ball out there somewhere. But when they get around the greens is when they lose strokes. When they hit a green, they're 3-putting from 30 feet, 40 feet. So they're losing shots that way. They could be a little bit more reliable, making some putts inside 10 feet that allows their short game not to be perfect, and they have to chip it up there close. So I would say putting is a bigger key, because I think I've seen more guys lose strokes on and around the greens, majority amateurs, than they would if they're, off the tee.
We got another text here from Jerry on the Titan Tomorrow text line. He says, Billy, what was the experience like being Mr. Two Bits with your wife?
That is, if the FedEx Cup was the coolest moment in my golf career, that has to be one of, if not the greatest moments in my life. To be able to be Mr. Two Bits with my wife. I had been offered and asked a couple of times to be Mr. Two Bits, and I turned it down. I thought other people should do it before me. And I actually turned this, when it came to me this last time, I said, I'm not sure if I really want to be Mr. Two Bits. And my wife goes, you've already turned it down a couple of times. Why you keep doing this? And she's like, if I had the opportunity, I'd do it in a heartbeat. And so right away I thought, well, do you want to do it with me? And she's like, well, do you think they'll let me? I said, listen, if they want me to do it, they're gonna have to either let me do it with you, or I'm not gonna do it. That's why I'm just gonna put it to them. And it's not like I was forcing their hand or anything. UAA and the people around that are great people. And so I brought it up to them. They thought, why not do it? My wife played at the University of Florida on the women's golf team. She graduated there. So it was the first husband and wife graduates from the University of Florida to do it. Just a really special moment. I've told everyone this. I was more nervous right about to be Mr. Two Bits than I have ever been in my entire golf career, for the sole fact that it's just an iconic figure at our college, and to lead the football team, get the stadium ready to go. And everyone knows it's such a basic thing what George Edmondson did, but if I mess it up, everyone knows I messed it up. So I was just so worried of not messing up, and you really can't. But
Right.
it's it's like, man, this is a little nerve wracking, but it was fun. We had a lot of fun. It was exciting, and as I've told Scott Strickland and Coach Mullen, I'm like, listen, guys, if you need me to be Mr. Two Bits again, I just want to let you know I want to know in big games, and I only do big games. So if you guys need me to get the crowd going and guarantee a win, just make sure it's a big game, and I'll guarantee another victory.
No doubt about it. Now, Billy, y'all's last event was the Players Championship, which is pretty much the fifth major on tour. It's a tremendous event. Once they said they were going to not allow fans in and play, be able to watch, would that have been strange for y'all to play a golf tournament with no fans? Now, I know probably in college golf it's similar, because you don't get a whole lot of people at your tournaments watching. But would that just have been really, really strange for you guys on the PGA Tour, playing without folks watching you?
We've done it. I've probably done it 3 or 4 times on the PGA Tour where we have bad weather come through in the night or something, and just knock down some stands or TV towers, and they just decide, it's best that we don't get the spectators out there. Let us clean up. So we've done that a couple times out on tour. It's not a regular thing at all. But for them, it was going to be weird for the players, because it obviously is like a major. There's thousands of people that come out and watch, and the energy around 16, 17, 18 just wasn't going to be there. And to do it for 3 rounds is different than just 1 round. So, yeah, it would have been a big, big change, and it would have been very different for us not to have spectators. But like I said, we've all done it on the PGA Tour at least once in our career, but just do it for the final 3 rounds, especially on Sunday if we were able to play. Having all those people around and the leader walking around 16 over to 17, not having all the spectators there and the noise, that was going to be a surreal moment. It was just going to be something that just didn't look right.
Susan has a text here on the Titan Tomorrow text line. She's from Ocala. She wants to know, Billy, what are you doing now to stay busy? Are you practicing at all?
I'm hitting what I've been on. We've been in this for now 3 weeks now, a little over 3 weeks. I've hit balls maybe a handful of times over the last 3 weeks, just just to stay somewhat, I can't stay sharp, but keep the swinging somewhat the form I want. Then helping out my wife with the kids and trying to keep them entertained. We go on several walks a day and do a lot of other stuff. And then I've been fortunate enough, I have a gym here at my house. So I've gone up and worked out and hopped on my Peloton bike, and I've done a lot of, social media stuff around the Peloton, and people have been enjoying that, and other tour pros and I've been challenging each other. And then my wife goes up and works out and does her workout. So, we're like any other, family out there, just trying to figure out how to fill the day with keeping the kids entertained and not going insane.
Who's the top guy on the tour and doing the Peloton?
Rory is very fit. Rory McIlroy is he's one of the fittest guys, if not the fittest guys on tour. I mean, he's in unbelievable good shape, and he's very like I said, he just takes care of himself very well. The other guy I would put with him that could keep up with him, or maybe even a little bit better than him, possibly. I don't know, because his workouts are different. But Scott Stallings has really transformed his body in the last year and a half, 2 years. He does a lot of CrossFit stuff, and he works out with a lot of CrossFit guys, and he's very, very fit and very athletic.
A couple more questions for you. Billy Horschel here on Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Billy, I know you do a lot of charity work over there in the Jacksonville area. Let everybody know what you're doing and how they can help out.
Yes, so my wife and I have been involved in Feeding Northeast Florida since 2014. We got involved right after my oldest one, Skylar, was born. We were looking for a charity or organization, foundation to really help support in our area. And we were brought Feeding Northeast Florida to us. And I just thought, when I was showing the figures of how many people in our Northeast Florida community are food insecure, it was I think at the time, it calculated maybe like 9 counties, 10 counties. Now we're only like 7 counties. But it was like almost 500,000 people. And with that number, there was I think it was 1 in 6 kids are food insecure, which just really touched my wife and I's heart, thinking about these kids growing up, not having the food to fill their bellies, not to get the proper nutrition to be able to develop and focus on school. And to think that we were very fortunate that we could provide that for our daughter, and that some parents aren't able to. So that just touched our heart. And so we've been very involved in Feeding Northeast Florida for 6-7 years now, and we've raised a lot of awareness for it. We donated a lot of money through my AJJ golf event that I hold in October, and we've donated our own personal money as well to help bring hopefully the Northeast Florida community food secure at some point in time. And it's gone a long way. We still need to go further. The thing that I tell people is that every dollar that someone donates, it equals 6 meals. So if everyone can just give a couple dollars, it all equals up at the end of the day. And there's enough food to go around. It just comes with getting the food and having enough gas and having enough trucks to get it to the shelters and the other places that these food pantries that the food needs to get to.
Well, Billy, doing great work, my man. We wish you a lot of luck when the tour starts back up. You're a tremendous ambassador for the University of Florida. And we appreciate you joining the show today, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Shane.
All right. That's Billy Horschel joining us on the Titan MRI hotline. We're going to take our final time out of the program. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Time out! Time out! Hey! Time out! Time out! Time out! There we go. Good.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Let's give them something to cheer for now.
Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security, small enough to serve you, large enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Gators Dockside, wings, ribs, seafood, and beer. Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Area Rug Masters, your #1 choice for rug cleaning. And Pound Hurt, preferred personal injury attorneys.
Our touchdown sponsors are Radware Promotional Materials, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Gator BTW, Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, Miapa Latin Cafe, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Okita America Martial Arts and After School, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, The Keys Grill and Piano Bar, UF Mover Guys, The Digital Mortgage Guy, Adams Ribs, Cloud9 Spa, Wrap Spot, Coldstone Creamery, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Center State Bank, and Style Cuts.
If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click on the Advertise button or call Freddie Wiebe at 352-284-3733.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Looking, still looking. He's going for the end zone. He's got a touchdown.
Welcome back to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We want to thank Billy Horschel and Brent Beaird for joining the program on the Titan MR hotline. At Center State Bank, we put business first. We are the largest community bank in the state of Florida. Center State has 5 convenient Alachua County locations to serve you better. Come in and experience the Center State difference. To learn more, visit centerstatebank.com. Center State Bank, member FDIC. Brent had a lot of good information, and I loved having Billy Horschel on, talking golf, talking about his career at the University of Florida. Guy was a 4-time All-American here, SEC Player of the Year twice. Tremendous resume. We wish him a lot of luck when the tour resumes. Don't forget, tomorrow on the program, we're going to have the University of Florida's all-time leading rusher, Eric Rett, number 33, will be joining the program. Should be very, very entertaining. If anyone knows Eric Rett, he's a different cat and should have some great stories. And he's great to listen to. One of my favorite teammates of all time. Can't wait to have him on the program. I'm sure I'll have to text him and call him several times tonight to remind him. But yes, Eric Rett's going to be joining the program tomorrow. So if you want to shoot us any text on the Titan MR text line, 352-353-7465, you can also just shoot us stuff on the Pound Hurt Facebook Live comment questions for Eric Rett for tomorrow. That's going to be it for today's show. Again, we want to thank Brent Beaird and Billy Horschel, PGA Tour player, former Gator great, joining the program. So you've been listening and watching to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll talk to you folks tomorrow. Take care. Be safe.